Now, I would like to get you to capture the title of this statement, because it says, freeze further public-private partnerships until after public confidence is restored in government. I will just repeat that. Freeze further public-private partnerships until after public confidence is restored in government. And now I read. It is becoming increasingly clear that management of public finance and public assets in the country is in a state of disarray. These past few days alone, Kenyans have been treated to mutually contradictory official explanations of what could be happening to their finances with regard to purported procurement to construct dams in various parts of the country. It is both scandalous and colors that a cabal of people who are entrusted with protecting public interest have turned out to be a band of the people's most dangerous enemies. Those parts of the country that require facilities like water dams are without exception homes to some of the poorest people in the country. It requires a most stone-hearted individual to sit well with his conscience after using such poor people, as the excuse to plunder the country. Worse still is that such individuals would still have the temerity to stand before the world and attempt to give comical explanations of what happened. Put this together with the other acts of plunder in KPLC, in the Galana Kulalu, in the Ministry of Youth and Sports, and in the National Youth Service, in the Ministry of Environment, overplanting of forests that were never planted, in Ketraco, in NHIF, in Afya House, in Kenya Forest Services, in the Eurobond, and in the IABC, among many other scandals. You witness an expansive landscape of unbridled graft in state office. Public confidence that the Jubilee government could continue to be trusted with public finances and other assets is heavily shaken. In the end, any more major projects or attempts to dispose of public assets cannot be trusted. The only assignment left for President Uhuru Kenyatta is a frontal war against the grand larceny in his government. Instructively, this larceny in national government has also opened up space for similar activities in devolved government. This is tragic. In the newest development, in state-driven graft, the government is now trying to merge the Kenya Airports Authority and Kenya Airways in a highly opaque and suspicious manner. This whole thing about JKIA, the KAA and KQ has the stench of corruption. The events around the so-called KQ and Kenya Airports Authority merger must be made public. So far, this mark of an uncontrollable appetite for ill-gotten wealth. We cannot keep wondering, when will these people get satisfied? Must they bleed the country up to its very last drop of blood to feed their thirst for wealth? In the present context, in which the public faith in the integrity of those in power has been eroded, President Uhuru Kenyatta must now freeze further dealings in public assets. I underline that. President Uhuru Kenyatta must now freeze further dealings in public assets. We as ANC note with deep concern the brutal manner in which the government has dealt with aviation workers currently on strike against the foregoing happenings in their sector. The kind of bestiality we have witnessed is completely in conflict with civilized behavior. Workers' rights are protected in the Constitution of Kenya. The world has witnessed peaceful strikers being brutalized. We condemn this in the strongest language possible. The aviation workers gave a strike notice as required by law. They called for dialogue, yet nobody engaged them. When they went on strike, they were brutalized. This is a huge shame in this day and age of open governance. The people in charge of industrial relations in government should have been sacked by now. Mr. President, what are you waiting for? We note further that the goings on in KQ and Kenya Ports Authority are happening against a backdrop of Kenya's entry into direct flights into the United States. We note further that this entry was a factor of lengthy lobbying and protracted negotiations. What message is the government giving to those who opened up the US market to them? Besides, KQ is a company on the stock market. What message are we giving shareholders and other prospective investors? Hundreds of billions of shillings have been sunk into this troubled airline. In the 1990s, I personally helped to restore Kenya Airways after many years of mismanagement, only for it to sink into fresh waves of plunder by later managers and their principals. For how long must we put up with the merry-go-round that is KQ? This airline requires sound management. We cannot surrender it to a cabal of money-hungry managers, nor should we ever surrender our foremost international airport in the region to a few individuals hiding behind Kenya Airways. Apart from all this, we note with concern another scandal in the formation at the Kenya Ports Authority outside the public view. Machinations are already in motion to kite KPA into the hands of another set of cartels in the guise of the atrophied Kenya National Shipping Line. By the way, there's a parastatal by that name. Once again, there are highly placed persons in government working with European foreigners towards this wicked goal. We are watching you and we will stop you. We call upon all Kenyans to be vigilant as our port is also about to go. Lastly, as a nation, we are meanwhile coming to terms with the reality that we have been dancing with wolves. This is especially so whenever we exercise our right to choose government at the ballot. We have invariably turned a blind eye to our interests and chosen instead to walk and dance with wolves. Moreover, some of the wolves' recent behavior points to their readiness to sink with the entire country. We are witnessing the Samson syndrome among people who have been caught with their hands in the till. They have politicized the war against corruption. They are now even ethnicizing it. Their objective is to sink the whole country. Such people believe that they are tribesmen are weapons to be used to protect them from probity. Kenyans must reject to dance with these wolves. It is time to put Kenya first. End of statement. Maybe